Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Lights Camera Discussion Podcast. We're back with part two of our Adam McKay podcast, which again was Todd's choice. So he's going to be our conductor through this trail. Todd, let's get started. What's the first film we're talking about on this part?
So our first film on this part is the 2013 Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. Leaving the lights of San Diego behind, Ron and the news team take on the new and frightening concept of 24-hour news. Ron wants to be at the top and will do anything to make sure he's number one.
Sorry, Todd, I wasn't laughing at you. I was just laughing at Colley's face. It's just, I know where this is going to go for him. So we'll start off with yourself, Todd. Thoughts on Anchorman 2?
I have watched this film twice in total. I watched it at the cinema when it came out, and I remember being so disappointed and just completely devastated by the fact that it wasn't what I expected. I've watched it, and then obviously I've watched it for this because I was like, I'm never watching it again. And then when we've done this, I didn't mind it. I thought I looked at it from through the lens of, look, Adam McKay makes wild films that take absurd swings. He knows he's never going to make anything like Anchorman ever again. Oh, sorry, he's not going to capture that lightning in the bottle again. So let's just fucking go with it. And it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm probably just like, because I laughed a lot, rated it a little bit higher than it probably deserved. But I had a good time with it, and I'll watch it again. I will definitely watch it again.
Good stuff. Yeah, I also saw it in the cinema as well. But I didn't remember a single thing about it apart from the lighthouse. That was the only thing I remembered from watching it in the cinema. So watching it again, it has its moments. It does have its moments, but I think it suffers from the fact that Anchorman is like so iconic and so good. So the sequel being such a drop down is quite obvious. But again, a couple things that I thought were quite good and had its moments. Collie?
Yeah, so similar to you, I seen it in the cinema and was really disappointed. Vowed never to watch it again. Logged it a couple of times for this, and I was like, I didn't really enjoy that, but I don't really want to be too harsh on it. And then I started rewatching it last night and finished it this morning when I was finishing up my notes and stuff for this, and I hated it. I really just was like, it's similar. Okay, it's not as bad, but the drop in quality between like Dumb and Dumber and Dumb and Dumber 2 is ridiculous. And I don't think this is as bad, but it annoys me more because of, the quality of the people behind it. It's McKay again. I just find it to be a complete rehash. And like, we'll come to the MVP and the quote in the scene. But like the quote, spoiler alert, but I couldn't find one that I was like, well, you know what, that's my favorite one. I just find them, like we're talking about in the original Anchorman, the arsonist has oddly shaped feet, and the warm up stuff with the whiskey and stuff. He just comes out with stuff that's very much the same, but not as funny. And yeah, I was just like wholly disappointed in it. And then this morning I was just like annoyed about it more than anything. I think like watching it so closely to the original, and watching the original a couple of times in prep for this, and like even just our chat this morning so far about the first four, it's annoyed me even further at how much of a drop in quality this is.
Wow. Damning words.
It's a blessing. I think it's a blessing in disguise that him and Ferrell fell out, that they wouldn't have to do this again, because I couldn't be arsed with a Step Brothers 2 or anything. Mm-hmm. Based on this, in theory, I would like it, but if it's anything like this, then I would be really annoyed by it.
Absolutely. Well, Todd, after that negativity, obviously, it's quite good in the way that we can do this because we spoke about the first one, so we can kind of talk about the characters, in a sequel, and seeing what we maybe liked, didn't like, or what the differences were that we found with them. So, do you want to kind of run through the sort of the main news team and what you thought was maybe different, what you liked and didn't like?
In terms of the main news team, I thought it was, like, say, more of the same. The only one who I think really sort of felt like there was any sort, not character development, because the poor guy can't develop his character because but was Brick was the only one who really had more to do. And I know we'll talk about supporting cast and stuff, but I love these moments with Charlie. I thought him and Kristen Wiig were hilarious. I love those little bits. I think Will Ferrell, like you say, is just doing more of the same. Plays into it a little bit more, has a little bit more sort of like gravitas is the wrong word, but gives a little bit more with his voice. I did write down, and I know hopefully this isn't somebody's quote, but the warm-up ones, the one that did get me was the Tooth Fairy's exposed breasts made the child uncomfortable. That got me, and I started laughing immediately at that. And I think it was bits like that that really got me. I agree about the rehash. So like Ron having his fall off, not when he goes blind, like when he's sacked and stuff, and he's working at SeaWorld, and he says, "For your information, Chippy was rehabilitated and Ruru is an asshole." When he's like drunk, like talking at the dolphin show, stuff like that really got me. And I think again, it was just him leaning into that. I think as a group, my favourite is still Paul Rudd, because again, he's doing that silly, over the top, almost like you said about the physical comedy when he's advertising the briefs and he's like knelt down in those little briefs. Got me again. There are some decisions, and I like, because this is specifically with the news team, that I thought was really clever and funny. Like, so when I can't remember, I should have written the joke down specifically, but I didn't. I wrote the cut off of the laugh. Like, they're telling a joke and there's like a laugh and they're all like laughing really heartily, and then it just stops. And I love that it leans into that silliness and that absurdity with them. Again, Champ is just Champ. There's no sort of movement for him. But yeah, I thought as a cast, as a four, and obviously Veronica's sort of pushed to the side a little bit and comes back in and moves in and out and stuff. But yeah, I thought in terms of the news team, it was just more of the same, which is honestly what I was happy to see, to be honest.
I kind of agree. I think Will Ferrell or certainly Ron Burgundy and Champ, I felt like they were trying a little bit too hard. Like there was a lot of just like loud shouting and stuff. If it was Brick Tamlin, I would get it because of loud noises, but it just felt a bit like they were trying a bit too hard. I didn't like the sort of like romance between Steve Carell and Kristen Wiig. It just felt a bit like they were trying something. I don't know. It just didn't feel natural to me. I know it's not, it's an absurdist movie and stuff, but it just annoyed me more than made me like laugh even at it, to be honest. I think Kristen Wiig can be hit or miss, certainly for myself anyway as well. I can either really enjoy her, like Bridesmaids, etc., but then other things she just pisses me off, and this was unfortunately one of those. So it might be a me thing. I think the fact that there was less Christina Applegate as well hurt the movie. We were talking about how she was such a good part of the first one, and almost like a foil to Will Ferrell. The fact that she was pushed aside a bit, I think, is what certainly didn't help. But yeah, it felt a little bit lazy from them as well. And like they were just trying to maybe throw things at the wall, and it didn't quite stick. But yeah, Collie, thoughts on?
Yeah, just like forced and unnatural, I think it nails it. It's just they're trying to recapture that absurdism, but like with the 10 years or 9 years or whatever it was between the films, it just didn't seem possible at the time, and I think it's not aged very well either. Not in terms of like the political correctness of the jokes, blah blah. I just don't think any of them have become funnier in time or anything like that. It just lost its spark. And yeah, you can argue, going into this, what did I expect? I'm not expecting massive character development, but just the jokes were the same jokes, but like reworded slightly. And the romance between Carell and Wiig was just like felt like, let's make a kooky romance, and it just didn't vibe. I don't even know if it was the performances that like didn't click for me. I think it was more just the writing, more than anything else. But yeah, like more of the same from everybody, but to lesser quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there was like sort of cameos and other bits and pieces of people that sort of were in the film. For me, the standout of them, the sort of extras and stuff, was James Marsden. I really liked James Marsden. Sorry, I really liked him when he was on the screen. He was like, he does this like smarmy kind of guy really well. So for me, he was one of the shining lights of the film. Was there anyone that stood out for yourself, Todd? Anyone extra that came in?
No, I like James Marsden. I thought he was solid enough. But I think the cameos in this, like the Leo Poynton meme type thing. I feel like the cameos in this were that. Does that make sense? Like, as in, it was more just like, who can we shoehorn in? Who can we get involved to sort of, get the audience sort of laughing away? And yeah, I don't. Considering it's such a big cast, I don't think there was anybody that particularly stood out other than the main cast.
Fair enough. Collie?
I thought Harrison Ford was all right. Like he was fine. But even just when you're talking about the cameos and stuff, I think even like, there was a big fight again. And I just don't think it was as organic or as funny, like Sacha Baron Cohen appearing and Will Smith and all. It was the same, but different in a again, like not as funny of a way.
What about Vince Vaughn turning up as Mantooth at the end to save Will Ferrell and the news team?
Enjoyed that. I forgot why. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was good because more just because I like Vince Vaughn more than anything.
Yeah, and again, it was almost like it felt like a continuation on the previous one as opposed to the same stuff kind of thing.
It's weird. It's weird that you say that because that bit felt like a continuation, whereas even though it was the same characters, like this one seems so abstract compared to the original. Like it doesn't seem to tie in with much. And I don't know if that's just a time thing or something like that, but it just feels so disconnected to the original.
Absolutely. Well, anything else to see out for yourself, Todd? You're the one that loved this film so much.
So I went onto IMDb to look at the trivia because I found a piece of trivia that is not on IMDb, and I'm absolutely chuffed with myself.
I did.
I think you have to be a member. I don't know. I'll have a go. We'll see what happens. But
I don't think I have to be a member. Do you?
I don't know. I think it's like Wikipedia. You get you can't just put any old shite in there. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't just type something up.
Anyway, what's his fact?
Marion Cotillard. It isn't. Marion Cotillard, when she's part of the Canadian news team, is drinking the Laughing Clown liquor, which is the sponsor for Ricky Bobby's car. Laughing Clown is the beer or the liquor that and I clocked it and I took a photo to be sure. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother adding that.
I thought it was a nice little Easter egg.
It's literally there. It's literally there on IMDb.
Is it?
Because I was like, see what you're telling me. I was like, I'm sure I read that, and I was like, it was such an inconsequential fact I didn't even list it.
Fuck's sake.
65 people have found it helpful. Obviously, Todd didn't. You are an idiot.
Marion Cotillard is drinking the Laughing Clown malt liquor. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, brilliant. It's not even that far down. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, I just immediately
9.
Control F Marion, and I was like, it's right there. I've got a bit of trivia from it, and it's such like a caveated bit of trivia that I had to go back and I didn't obviously retroactively change it on IMDb, but it says it's one of a handful of sequels to perform better with both critics and audiences than its predecessor. Anchorman 1 grossed $85 million upon release and has a 66% Rotten Tomatoes rating, respectable for a silly comedy movie, whereas this film grossed $127 million domestically and has a 74% Rotten Tomatoes rating. But what they don't say is those are the critics' ratings. And you have to think a super successful film and its sequel. Obviously, the sequel is going to do better money wise. So critics were 66% and 74%, but popcorn rating, which is user rating, number one's 86%, and this is 52%.
Wow.
So like it's 34 points like lower, but according to them it's better because 8% of critics gave it a higher rating. So I just thought that was interesting that they tried to like align it like that, and I was just like, well, that's just categorically not true.
Yeah, and the thing is as well with the critic side of things, it's not
Shills.
exactly. Well, I was going to say it in a more nuanced way, but yes, yeah. But yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. Anything else you want to talk about with this film, Collie, Todd?
Absolutely not. And if
No,
Todd
okay.
says yes, just ignore him.
Yeah, good. Yeah, great shout actually.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, we'll go to categories then. So, quotes. I know, Collie, you said you struggled a bit. I'll quickly give mine, which got a decent laugh out of me. It was, "Hey Ron, who's driving? Oh, it's okay, it's on cruise control." I like that part. Todd.
Mine was the names that Jack Lame could change his names to, and Will Ferrell says Art Ariola, Lyle Tate, or Steve Anus, and the guy who did me editing quite a bit actually, but he goes Steve Anus and tries to like make it more palatable, and I thought that was very good.
Collie.
I genuinely was just like, I can't really find one. And when I was looking up the quotes on IMDb, by the hymen of Olivia Newton-John, I was just like, for me, that's just, they've went, oh, what kind of funny lines were in the original? And let's try and rehash them a little bit. Like, what does that line even mean? You know what I mean? So I only wrote that one down as a summation in terms of like, I just find it, for one of the most quotable films of all time in the original to this one, I was just like, nah, fuck this.
And it's like
I'm not even gonna pretend to have a favorite quote.
it's like by the insert thing of insert
Yeah,
name.
exactly. by you know, by Odin's Great Raven or whatever from the original to this, you know.
By the ankle socks of Todd.
I'm fucking boxing. Oh my god, you have to
sorry,
fucking bleep that out.
Oh yeah, I'll blop that out.
I was gonna say edit it out, but you won't bother. You never do.
I will. So, all right. Favorite scenes then. So, Collie, did you have any?
What did I said? Fuck knows, all a rehash.
So that's a
Yeah.
no then. For me, it's kind of fitting with my quote. It was the RV like tipping in a slow motion. Like,
Look, I thought that was fucking shit.
Yeah.
I just did not enjoy that bit as well, man. Like,
And I love the setup. It wasn't my favorite scene, but I love the setup where he's like, where they're like, "Why? What are the scorpions for?" Well, that's a long story, but I'm just gonna go over here by the deep fryer. Like,
Yeah.
I love that scene. I thought it was so.
Yeah, I enjoyed that part. To be fair, Todd.
Mine's the lighthouse and the reiteration of the fact that he's blind and like that he can't do specific things for himself. that tickled me no end. So yes, I love the lighthouse thing.
The fire in the dishwasher in the lighthouse did get a chuckle out of me. To be fair, did get a chuckle out of me. And MVP, Collie.
nobody.
Not Adam McKay, no. Fair enough. For me, James Marsden. He was the part that when he was on screen, I enjoyed his performance, or at least laughed at him. Todd.
Paul Rudd for me. He still made me laugh in the same way that he did in the first one. No, that's not as much, but still made like he's still that same character.
You said it, Todd. You said it. Don't back
All
me
right,
up just
it's
because
on.
I'm hating on it.
Right, double down. He was amazing, better than the first one.
I'm bleeping your name, not bleeping what
Okay,
you said
right, that's it. Kick him out of this chat.
there. All right. Well, let's go into our ratings then. So, Todd.
I went 3.5.
Nice. I went 2 stars. Collie, are you regretting?
1.5, and I think that was generous.
Fair enough. Goodness me.
Only half a star better than Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Spoiler.
Very excited.
So a spoiler for when we cover that.
Yeah, we do
right.
Lee Cronin's episode. Yeah. All right, moving on. Next one, Todd.
Okay, so our next film is 2015's The Big Short. The world is on the brink of financial collapse. The people who contributed to it don't have a clue. They're either living in ignorance or making money from the ignorant. A small group of financial experts see the crash coming and ensure they make the most of it.
Excellent stuff. Well, Todd, first thoughts?
I don't know how. Number one, how you can go from the films we've just discussed to this. Like, that is such a tonal shift, and I know there's some good comedic moments in it, and I know there's some maybe slightly off the wall moments in it, but I also don't know how you make a film about the housing crisis be so interesting. It is a masterpiece in terms of the way that it explains things, makes things so accessible. But I also think it's an amazing character study. I think, yes, it's a good film about the financial crisis, but to see these characters and see what they're going through is phenomenal. And I'll get to that a little bit later on, like in detail. But yeah, just mind-blowingly good. And I think one that I could watch regularly. And again, for the material, that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think for it to take the subject matter and make it so interesting is a feat in itself. But for me, like, it's a perfect movie. I have watched this movie a load of times, and every single time I enjoy it. You know, like, to the max. I think it's an incredible way of explaining things. There is, drama, there is comedy, like, did you say, the way they explain things using, like, cutaways. It's almost like a sort of Family Guy sort of esque way of doing it, and using celebrities is just genius. And yeah, for it being such a weird, such a quote unquote boring thing to talk about, for it to be this entertaining is just like an absolute masterstroke. I adore this film. I absolutely love it. Collie, sorry. Same difference.
Yeah, I love this film. It's one of the best films of the 2010s. I tend to watch it, Moneyball, sorry, and Spotlight together.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
like a trilogy, because they're all based on pretty dry, like serious, like overly serious and kind of subjects. And they're all three belters. Yeah, love this film. Love the performances. Love the writing of it. It's so off the wall, and obviously we'll see that in the next two films that we talk about. And I don't think, spoiler for when I'm ranking the other ones, but I don't think it's been as effective as this. I think he found the formula and kind of nailed it first try when it came to this. But yeah, love this film. One of the ones I'll watch very, very regularly. Even so much in terms of if I go for a run and stuff like that, I can listen to this like it's an audiobook almost, because I know the scenes and I know the visuals of it, and I can just listen to the story and the performances through the lines.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, we've spoken about, obviously, like, casting and stuff before. It's a kind of sort of move away from the Will Ferrell sort of absurdist into the more kind of, really big names in this cast and what they do. So, I mean, obviously the main sort of ones that we kind of follow are Christian Bale, Steve Carell. I was calling Steve Carell there. Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, of course, as well, and how they sort of all sort of get impacted by this. Todd, was there, out of those three or anyone else that sort of stood out for yourself, you really enjoyed? You're on mute, by the way. 2026, like, you know what I mean? You still can't work it.
Ridiculous computing teacher. Christian Bale, for me, we're used to these sort of big powerhouse performances, and I think this is a much more understated performance in terms of, he's a quieter guy. He's almost awkward in his interactions, and I love how he deals with everybody. And I think it's that almost he doesn't act like Louis Theroux, just bear with me, but how Louis Theroux sort of disarms people. I think Michael's a disarming character so that he gets away with a little bit more, and Bale does that perfectly. I love Ryan Gosling, and I think he's very good in this. I think he plays a very, like, he plays that typically charismatic role or whatever, especially when he's talking about his quant. And he's selling this guy who can't speak English and won a national maths competition in China and stuff, and all that I think that's brilliant. But for me, Steve Carell in this film is doing stuff I've never seen him do. He is unbelievable. And there's no doubt that Steve Carell can act. There's no doubt that he's a comedy genius, and there's no doubt that he can do the serious moments really well. But I think for me, this is his best work. There are moments in this film, like when he's on the phone, and his wife talks about his brother. That for me, it just rocks me every time, and that's where I wrote down character study, because I was just like, we're watching somebody just be absolutely fucking devastated and trying to like hold on to something, even if that's anger and hatred. Like it blew me away. It absolutely blew me away.
Mm-hmm. And I think as well with Steve Carell's character, obviously he's almost like a nihilist, isn't he? And you kind of understand that from the backstory we get from him with his brother, and how that affected his brother and affected him, and how he thought he could sort things by like offering money and things, and how that then seeps into his almost hatred for the system as well. So yeah, I totally agree. I think it's incredible character work. Yeah, I think Gosling is being. It's easy to say the slimy guy, but because he kind of is, he's almost like that Wolf of Wall Street, isn't he? But he's kind of not as well. It's like it's the fake sort of like almost dyed black hair or darker than normally he has that makes him look like that. But yeah, I think his performance is fantastic from the moment that he like presents to Steve Carell's team, and he's got like the Asian guy with him, and he's like talking about how he doesn't speak any English.
Isn't this what Todd talked about?
Oh, was it? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Todd ran through that scene explicitly.
Sorry.
You laughed at it as well when he started talking about it. You completely disassociated.
I must have. I don't know what happened there.
I should have just let you run through it and then should have told you off at the end that you just repeated the same thing. But
it's just because
Quant.
The thing is, it's when I speak, it's more engaging than Todd does. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, no, I thought his he was absolutely great. And then yeah, Christian Bale, like the physical side of things, like the not having the eye and stuff, and like the faces that he made were so weird and so unnerving. But again, it was quite an endearing guy as well. Yeah, I absolutely loved his performance. Colin, what are your thoughts on Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell, Christian Bale, and of course Ryan Gosling's Asian friend who couldn't speak English? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Yang. Yeah, he won a math. He won a math competition in China. Well, actually, he only came second. No, I thought it was great, and it's interesting. Which it was bizarre when I read a bit of trivia, but McKay cast Carell in this role after seeing him in Foxcatcher, which I get because he was serious in Foxcatcher, but Foxcatcher is a terrible film, and I don't really like the Carell performance in it, to be honest. But it obviously showed McKay and a lot of people that he can do serious roles when needed. Because he's like so serious, like you say, he's a bit of a nihilist, and even people around him are like, he takes it more serious than everybody else. I think his like supportive group, like Jeremy Strong and that, they're really good supporting characters. It's interesting, Christian Bale doesn't interact with any of the other main characters. He's kind of isolated on his own, which is good. He's unbelievable in it. Like just his ability to play somebody that's like so knowledgeable, but even when he's like getting shouted at by the people who like fund his fund and stuff like that, and they're like, get me my money back and stuff like that, and then they call him is it Mr. Burry or whatever? He's like, well, actually it's Doctor, like in the middle of like a heated exchange. He's just like he's correcting them and stuff like that. And the scene when he's going around the banks and making sure, he's like, oh, but can you guys make sure that you'll pay me? And the guy's like laughing at him, being like, oh, you're like thinking that the bank won't pay it, and he's like, oh, can we do, they're like, oh, we'll offer you 4 million, and he's like, can you do 100 million and stuff. I think he plays him so quirky, and like there's definitely like a spectrum aspect to it, and he met the real Michael Burry in like the t-shirt and the cargo shorts that he wears at some like different points throughout the film. They're actually Michael Burry's clothes that he borrowed and stuff. And he said, because I don't think he did, he's like, I wanted him to come to the premiere and see if he would punch the fuck out of me because of his performance of him and stuff. Because it's even like the cutaways when he's like obviously listening to like Metallica or drumming and like Mastodon and stuff like that. I think that was really, really cool. Obviously how he was, like you say, Todd, a character studying and embodying this guy. And yeah, Gosling's just hilarious. He's so funny. And like the phone calls between him and Jeremy Strong when he's like, I just want to know how you're fucking me and stuff. And he's talking about how he's like, he's only getting like the cherry on top and stuff like that. Just really, really good charismatic supporting role from him. Because what I didn't realise until I read a bit of trivia is that Gosling in 2013 announced that he was going to have a break from acting. I think he'd done Only God Forgives and Gangster Squad, which were both pretty terrible. And I think he announced that he was going to have a break, and this was his like quote unquote comeback. I think he had like a year and a half off or something like that. But this was his comeback, and then obviously it sprung on to like La La Land and all the stuff that he's Project Hail Mary even nowadays. Like the last 12 years, 10 years, 11 years of his career have probably shot up from this because he's just so good in it, so charismatic, and just shows another facet. I mean, the guy can do anything. He can do like serious, he can do funny, he can do everything in between, really. I know we've spoke about him quite a lot on the podcast in terms of his different roles, but this is just yet another, was it string to his bow? Is that the expression?
Yeah.
In this, I think he's really good because he's, like you say, he is a bit of a dirtbag, a bit of a slime guy, but his narration tells you that, and he's just like, what does he say again? Don't ask about my margins or something like that. Mm-hmm. He says to them when they're talking when in the original the Jenga meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, sorry. And then there's that one scene that he's got the Asian guy, and he's like, "This is my quant," and they're like, well, "Your what is quantitative."
Yeah.
He's like, "Look at his eyes." And
I remember. Yeah.
Like, that's pretty racist.
I remember that scene. Yeah. Todd, do you remember that scene?
Yeah, it's a good scene. Yeah. He says that he came second in a maths competition.
Ah, so he does. Yeah.
In China.
In China. Yeah.
Oh, me. Very funny. Very funny. Yeah, and anyone else that kind of stood out? Because obviously there's a couple of other sort of bit part characters. You know, we see Brad Pitt come in for like almost a glorified cameo, but he's quite an important part of certainly understanding the sort of like almost street level impact that it has on people. Was there anyone else that stood out for yourself, Todd, at all?
Mine's the little team of Spall, Linklater, and Strong. I thought them three were amazing together, and I really rate Rafe Spall. Like he keeps popping up in Hollywood films every now and then, but just as an actor, I really rate him, and it's nice to see him doing work as big as, like, you know, Academy Award winning work and all that kind of thing. So yeah, them three were brilliant. I did like Brad Pitt. I thought him being the sort of, again, not overly charismatic, he's that paranoid, you know, almost shut-in type character, I thought worked really well as well. They were my main two. I also, from New Girl, because I'm relatively new to New Girl, but seeing Schmidt be a piece of shit and be just like that slimy piece of shit was really good. Marissa Tomei I thought was really good. I know she was obviously more there just to sort of when Steve Carell was talking to her and stuff, but I thought her emotional notes hit really well and sort of boosted Steve Carell's character quite a lot. Yeah, they were my main ones.
Yeah, Schmidt was a good shout. Like, he was just brilliant. As that kind of like sleazy.
Was that the guys down in Florida?
Yes, yeah. So
okay.
Matt Greenfield's his name. If you haven't seen New Girl, you should watch it. It's fantastic, and Schmidt is like an incredible character. But yeah, they're like the proper like sleaziness, with like no morals and things, and seeing them. It's not karma, but like at the end, seeing them struggle to like get a job, and that once the crash is hit and stuff as well, it's almost sad, but then you remember what the stuff that they've done to the people down in Florida. Collie, anyone else that stood out for you?
Melissa Leo is the woman accountant that would like grant the The see, the thing is, like, I've watched this film so many times. I still don't understand what the fuck it's about. Like, I still have no fucking idea. But it's her that she like
The ratings, isn't
grades,
it?
the rates and stuff or whatever. I thought she was good because like Mark Bum's like so obviously like antagonistic towards her because he's like you're facilitating these guys getting away with it. But no, like the supporting cast were great top to bottom. I thought the two young guys that were with Brad Pitt, the Brown Holdings, I think they were called or whatever. It was funny when they were in the lobby and they're like trying to get this license or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we've got like 300 million or whatever, or 30 million of a pot." And the guy's like, "Yeah, come back when you've got another like 1.287 billion, and then then we can maybe." And he does this little like, "We can maybe give us a call or whatever," and they're just like cringing. They're like, "I can't believe we've just done that," but. A little bit of trivia, which was just interesting, especially after the Oscars podcast when we talked briefly about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, and Conan O'Brien's in that. And he was once considered for the Brad Pitt role. Like, they even like auditioned him multiple times, and then all of a sudden Brad Pitt must have turned around and be like, "Oh, I can do it now," and they would have went, "Bye, Conan, see you later." It just would have been interesting for him to do a dramatic role that we don't really see him doing or anything like that. Because I thought he was really good in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. So it would be interesting to see how he would have played him differently or whatever.
It's funny you said about Melissa Leo was like the ratings person. I thought the decision to have her have just had eye surgery. It's like properly ironic, and I think that's a great little touch. Obviously, like she's turned a blind eye essentially to some of the ratings. I thought that was a really interesting choice from McKay and stuff there. Anything else you want to talk about? Any?
Yeah, just one thing, because we'll touch probably more about it in Vice, but there's the fake out, like, towards the end, when it's like, all the bankers ended up in prison, and this happened, and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, actually, just joking, one guy got arrested, and then that was it. I thought that was a good, like, fake twist, or like, whatever, just in terms of the kind of, this is how it should have went kind of thing. Because that final meeting, or the kind of discussion between Steve Carell and that guy, and then the prices or whatever are plummeting while they're talking, and Steve Carell just goes boom. I thought like he's a proper know-it-all, but it like obviously he knows it. Like he's the good guy in this kind of aspect. It's weird because like nobody in it's good because they all obviously profit from it, and that's what Brad Pitt's character's there to tell you. Like what is it? Every 1% the unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die or something like that. To keep it grounded, and that's like at the end when Steve Carell's character's like, I'll decide when we sell, I decide, and then Jeremy Strong's like, we need to sell now, we'll make like $1 billion in profit, and he's like, yeah, okay, we'll do it, kind of thing. It's scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can kind of go on to quotes because that was my quote, the Ben Rickert one. So I can actually kind of go through it in full.
On you go.
So it's if we're right, people lose homes, people lose jobs, people lose retirement savings, people lose pensions. You know what I hate about fucking banking? It reduces people to numbers. Here's a number: every 1% unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die. Did you know that? Like, it just sums up the film in a whole thing, and like we're being entertained by the story, by the funny characters that are doing this, but it's a real thing that happened. It's real that people died, people lost jobs, people were made insolvent, people's lives were changed dramatically by just this, and we're just watching this film without thinking about the consequences, but it's almost like a sobering reminder of what happened. So that was my favorite quote from the film. Todd?
Mine is look at him, that's my quote. No, I'm joking. It was I was
going to make that joke. Fuck's sake.
So what is a quote again? Just to...
It is my math specialist. No, my quote, and it's a far cry from yours, Massey, was I'm jacked to the tits.
That was mine. It's so funny. I do have a backup one though. It's Michael Burry, that's a nice haircut. Did you do it yourself? When he's talking about how he can't like communicate with people at the start or whatever. But yeah, I'm jacked to the tits.
And it's like that. It's the almost like classic Ryan Gosling voice as well. He does it when he goes like proper high. Like he does it. Nice like guys. He does it. Yeah. Just brilliant. Favorite scene, Todd?
It's the Steve Carell on the phone at the beginning. It just. it really made me sit up and realize how good this film is and what it's getting out of people.
Is that the scene when he's on the phone to Marissa Tomei?
Yeah, talking about
And then he's getting in and out of the cab and stuff like that.
and like fighting with the guy who,
It's my cab. It's my cab.
Yeah.
For me, it was like it's kind of like a more sequence than just a scene, but the whole Vegas thing, like the mainly the sort of. Well, sorry, especially the part with Karen Gillan, where they're talking about like how it's essentially a conversation about how corrupt the banking world is, and like she's part of the people that are meant to be regulating them, but they're not. And she's
they're supposed to be the auditors of the banks. Yeah, she's there trying to get a job.
Yeah, she basically like whoring herself out to get a job at one of the banks. It's like I thought that was a genius moment again. Collie?
For me, it was either the Jenga pitch, like genuinely, with the quantitative. But I actually, it's the dinner scene when Steve Carell's talking to that guy, and they're all observing from afar. And Ryan Gosling's like, "Oh, your boss is about to blow a faucet or something like that," because the guy's just like, pretty much like, not just what is it again? Jeremy Strong's talking, and he's like, he's not. No, tell a lie. Sorry, it's a different bit. It's the guy Schmidt when he's like, they're not confessing, they're bragging. But it's a kind of similar thing that guy's bragging to Steve Carell during that dinner about how much money he's making, and he's like, "Oh, X amount of time if you take it by helicopter and stuff." And Steve Carell's like, "You're disgusting." I thought that was interesting because, like, I think like the background noise starts rising in that scene while they're talking, as Steve Carell's obviously like fucking heart rate or blood pressure's rising because he's getting more and more annoyed.
Yep, definitely. All right, MVP, Todd.
Steve Carell for me. Whether it was the surprise at how good he was, but yeah.
Adam McKay for me, like to make this film about something so boring, but also impact a lot of people and make it such a digestible thing is an incredible feat. So yeah, Adam McKay for me. Collie?
I had McKay just because of the diversion from the first 5 films to this. Obviously, it's like based on a book and a real life situation, but the ability to adapt that, and again, like what they were saying at the start, like make such a dry subject be so entertaining, I think is pretty special. So yeah, it has to be him for me.
Totally. And ratings, Todd?
5 stars for me.
5-star for me as well. Collie?
Yeah, 5 for me.
Fantastic. Right, next one, Todd.
So our next film is 2018's Vice, a biopic of a known name but a relatively unknown story. Dick Cheney's career from blue-collar worker to the Vice President of the United States is one that is packed with controversy. Vice does its best to tell the story of a man who changed the United States and the position of the Vice Presidency forever.
Good stuff. First thoughts, Todd?
So this is the first watch for me. And it's one of the reasons why, other than like loving the comedy side of things, it was another reason why I wanted to do Adam McKay, because it was a good opportunity to watch it. I really enjoyed it. It's been like I check Letterboxd after I've watched a film for the first time, and people hate this film, and I just really don't understand. I thought performances were solid. I thought some of the choices, like in terms of the style, were really good. I get that it's like hitting people over the head, and even more so with the next one, but like you've got to hit people over the head a little bit. You've got to make them realize what's going on, because otherwise they're probably not going to get it. I thought it was, again, another thing that I don't care about the vice presidency. I don't particularly. I didn't know I needed a story about Dick Cheney, but I'm pleased I got one, because it was a damn good film to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is my first watch as well. I think it's an okay. It is a good film. I think it takes a wee second to get going. Like, certainly for me, the second half is stronger than the first half. But I understand it's kind of building up the character and building up him and stuff as well. But when it got to like the Iraq War and stuff, that's when for me it really jumped up a level. It was actually, I was like you, Todd. I watched it and I enjoyed it, things, and then I looked back at like some of the ratings, and it's like seen as really, really bad, and I didn't see that at all. I thought it was I don't think it was Anchorman 2 levels of shit. I thought it was it was good. I thought it did a lot of good things. There were some really interesting performances, and some kind of interesting point of views as well, which I don't think we've ever really seen. But yeah, it as I say, it took a bit of time to get going for me, but when it did, I really enjoyed it. I was taken in by it. Collie?
Yeah, I went to the cinema to see it a bit on the back of enjoying The Big Short so much. Really enjoyed it. Christian Bale's performance is unbelievable. As is the supporting cast. You know, Amy Adams, and then obviously Carell and Rockwell as George W. Yeah, I really enjoyed it top to bottom. And again, like, it's got that quirky editing style of McKay that I think really works because it's based on a true story, and then like the kind of the timeline that he tells it over is really good, and all the kind of backdoor dealings that Cheney has since proven to have done. Like, there's the one when he's meeting with the energy executives or whatever, and they have to have that department as part of the meeting. So they get the young intern guy and make him sit in the corner with headphones and stuff like that. Like, I can wholeheartedly believe that that's how it happened, to get these, you know, like legal loopholes, and how he expanded the office of the vice presidency from like more of a token, oh, I'm just waiting for my president to die so I can become the president, to essentially that he can undermine / give authority for stuff without the president ever knowing.
Absolutely. I mean, you obviously spoke about Christian Bale there. Do you want to kind of just carry on with Christian Bale and his performance?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously it's a very transformative performance physically. He gained 45 pounds, shaved his head, bleached his eyebrows, and exercised to thicken his neck for his role as Cheney. Bale said he achieved his hefty physique for the film by eating a lot of pies, which I thought was interesting. Wow. But when you see any interviews of Cheney, and he does stuff with, like, when Bale does stuff that Cheney does with his mouth, like, it's like he speaks out the side of his mouth, and he does whatever Massey's doing right now, all that kind of stuff.
Like
yeah, just a very physical, not only just like transformative from a looks perspective, but I think he really, really does embody Dick Cheney's mannerisms and stuff like that. I thought he was excellent, and he had this kind of pit bull, like bulldoggy kind of reputation, and I think I think Bale just nails it.
And just to bring the tone down a little bit as well, I don't know if he had to train his penis, because apparently Dick Cheney had a massive hog. Anyway, yeah, I thought Christian Bale was fantastic. I totally agree. You okay, Collie?
Yeah. I'm just trying to listen to you.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. But I think the way that he played him as well, with like this like quiet ruthlessness, was phenomenal, was absolutely incredible, and was almost scary as well. The way that he controlled things without having to shout, without having to be outwardly aggressive, you know. And a lot of it was when they were like talking about the semantics of law and the wording and stuff as well. It was super interesting the way that he was able to take that for his own advantage, and things as well. Like, yeah, I thought his performance was unbelievable. It's one of like the most impressive performances I've seen in a long time. I thought he was really that good. Todd, thoughts on Bale?
Yeah, just to echo pretty much everything you said. I do love the fact as well that he started off softer. That, like, all I know of Dick Cheney is essentially, like, prior to this film, was vice president, heart attacks, was a bit of a bastard. Was what? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's all I'd ever heard. I'd never heard any details or anything. So to start him off being quite like not mild mannered, but like, I know we see him being an alcoholic and you know, the DUIs and stuff, but like in terms of he changes himself because he loves this woman. He is going to be better because he loves. Do you know what I mean? And all that sort of stuff. And then I know we'll talk about Steve Carell, but the dynamic between him and Steve Carell that is the opposite of what we expect. We expect Christian Bale to be the commandant and Steve Carell to be the sort of like quieter, more bumbling character. But at the beginning, you've got him just doing everything that he's told and all that sort of stuff. But then obviously, absolute power corrupts absolutely type thing, and it starts to go to his head, and you can see that change in him, and I think that's brilliant. I think the physicality side of things as well, like you said, the stuff that he does with his mouth and his movements and his mannerisms are amazing, are absolutely fantastic. But I think the delivery, and I really hope it isn't one of your scenes, but I'm not a big Shakespeare guy, but when they talked about the Shakespearean soliloquy and the delivery of that between him and Amy Adams was absolutely phenomenal. Like, I thought that was, like it leans into the sort of almost Macbeth, Lady Macbeth sort of thing. So I Googled it. I was like, was it a real soliloquy? I couldn't quite, do you know what I mean? I'm not a big Shakespeare guy. But it was really well delivered and really well done. Is everything all right? All right.
Yeah, so no, just because like you were saying how obviously it's really well delivered and like blah blah, and my notes were literally just weird foreplay, growling out like Shakespeare or something. Like that's as far as I got.
Also, yes.
That's
Yeah.
the levels in which the different hosts of this podcast operate, I guess.
What I would say as well, I interpreted him slightly different than you did, Todd. You were saying how like the power corrupts the power. I always found him as being calculated and almost always being that kind of not monster but bad guy, in that he was almost like waiting his turn. From, you know, instead of being corrupted by Donald Rumsfeld, he always had that in him, and he was always like waiting to make that play kind of thing. That's the way I took it anyway. I again, you know, it can be taken different ways, but yeah, I agree. I think he was great. Colin, did you speak about you started on Bill, didn't you?
Yeah, I started, yeah.
Perfect. Talk about the rest of kind of the characters. We've touched on obviously Steve Carell's Donald Rumsfeld, Amy Adams as Lynn Chaney, Sam Rockwell as W. Even like Jesse Plemons as like a kind of narrator as well. What were your thoughts on them, Todd, or was there anyone that stood out for you for that?
Jesse Plemons as a narrator, I think he just has a phenomenal voice that's so engaging, but also natural. Like, it's not forced. It doesn't feel like a narrator voice. You can tell it's like, before you see him, you know it's Jesse Plemons. Like, he just has a really distinct voice, but it works really well. I know, obviously, when you say about is there anything else, but I think this kind of fits. I loved that they chose him as the person to be the narrator, like that character, that it was him who donated the heart type thing. I thought that was a great choice. But yeah, so I thought as a narrator he was brilliant, and that sort of cutting away and in the family home and in active duty when he's, you know, in Afghanistan and talking about that, and I thought that was all really well done by Jesse Plemons. I think Amy Adams is ridiculously good in this. She is phenomenal. Again, it's that, like, she doesn't want shit for her and her family. She doesn't want to have what her mum had. One thing I haven't touched on with Christian Bale was the conversation at the funeral with Amy Adams' dad. I thought that was an amazing piece of like power play from Christian Bale. Yeah, I thought Steve Carell's Rumsfeld was good. He did a job that he had that power that I didn't expect and did really well. But when you need to cast an affable idiot like W was, and I know he wasn't like an innocent man by any stretch of the imagination, but he was also just an idiot. Rockwell plays it so well. He's perfect for that role. And again, physically embodies it, and like the accent change, it's just a slight change, but it's enough. I thought he did a great job as George Bush.
And I think the prosthetics as well allowed it to not obviously be Sam Rockwell. But yeah, I agree. I think he was great as W. Sam Rockwell's great in anything though, isn't he? So yeah. Collie, anyone?
I think I've covered everyone. I think Sam Rockwell definitely stood out, as did Amy Adams. And it's just the fact that they're like embodying real people.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's lots of probably material that they can study as their mannerisms and stuff, and they're definitely would have got like the blessings to like probably meet the real people that they're embodying this because of the tone of the film. So it would have just a lot of been like archival stuff. But no, I think again, like, even though some of the films that we've talked about, like, we've maybe loved and then really liked and then really disliked, like Anchorman 2, but I think McKay is really, really good at assembling an ensemble cast. There's obviously like one or two at the top that are like the mains and like the main people, but the supporting cast always, he seems to nail that casting. From Jeremy Strong to Spall and that in The Big Short, and then in this, it's obviously like Carell and Rockwell are very well-known actors at this point, but I think they just nail exactly what they need to do, and there's no, oh, well, that's Steve Carell, we need to give him more screen time because it's him kind of thing. I think everyone plays their part in being supporting of, the main performance of the titular character by Christian Bale.
Yep, totally agree. All right, anything else to talk about, or are you happy enough to go into categories?
Just a couple of things, sorry. Alfred Molina and the menu bit. Having Alfred Molina read that menu was really good. And this is the sledgehammer thing. This is beating people over the head and going, if this is how we have to tell you that this is what's happening, this is how we will do it. And I thought that was really well done. I also loved, it was the shaken leg and how it was going between the view of the leg under the desk in the Oval Office and his leg shaken to the people being bombed and who's really
that was
under
class.
pressure.
That was really effective.
Good. And then the early credits as well, where his heart has never been healthier and regularly competes in Ironman competitions. Was amazing.
Yeah, it's fine, Todd. Just steal my favourite scene.
Oh, sorry.
You know what's funny? He stole mine as well, so that's fine.
Such a dick, this guy, man.
I'm a wanker.
Maybe we should have reined him in earlier because he was holding himself back a lot, and we were like, "No, go for it." But this is our fault, Massey. We should have known better.
It really is. All right. Well, we'll go into categories that Todd's ruined. Quote first, Todd.
It was simply it was a bit more of a simple one. It was, "What do we believe?" I thought that was a genius little bit of writing. That I thought it was fantastic.
For mine was when they're sitting around the dinner table and they're talking about Simon Cowell, and he says the mean British judge, and he says, "I liked him," says Cheney, and it just sums up that he's the only one that would like the scumbag. Collie?
For me, it was the monologue right before the credits at the end, about you think you can judge me, blah 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 blah. I did what I will not apologise for doing what needed to be done so that your loved ones could sleep peaceably at night. It's been my honour to be your servant. You chose me and I did what you asked. Just that whole monologue, I thought, was just him justifying everything he did.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, favourite scene, so for me, as Todd ruined, it was the restaurant scene with Melina. It's just peak McKay, and it's spelling things out for the audience in subversive ways. Loved it. But Todd ruined it. Collie? Did you ruin yours as well?
Yeah, same. It was the fake ending for me again. Todd ruined it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Todd, we'll go on then. It's your episode. Why don't you you tell us
well,
your
I
favourite scene
ruined
we've not
my own
ruined?
because my favourite bit was the Shakespearean monologue bit in the bed, so I've essentially done it for all three of us.
Fair enough. Thanks for that, Todd. I appreciate it.
The fake ending as well was they went back and raised prize-winning golden retrievers or something like that as well.
Oh, brilliant. And finally, MVP, Todd. I'm not saying you're MVP, by the way. I'm not saying you're MVP. Sorry.
After what I've just done, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, unbelievable. Just absolutely brilliant throughout.
Yeah, it's got to be Bale for me. Has to be. Collie?
Yeah, Bale, and you could argue that he perhaps should have won the Best Actor Oscar, because when he was nominated, it was against Rami Malek, who obviously won it for Bohemian Rhapsody. Bradley Cooper, A Star Is Born, who you could argue would have been competitive with it as well. But then Willem Dafoe for Eternity's Gate and Viggo Mortensen for Green Book.
Oh, wow.
You could argue in that category, I would have put Bale above all the rest of them in terms of his performance. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, a lot of people shit on that in terms of it's not aged very well. I still think it's a good performance and a worthy winner. But if you put them against each other, Bale would be above and beyond for me, just for I don't know, just his viciousness and his ability to disappear into the character.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Okay, and ratings. So, Todd?
I went 4 stars.
I went 3.5. Probably version on 4 stars, but 3.5, yeah. Collie?
Yeah, I went 4, and I could probably be pushed to 4.5, to be honest.
Fair enough. All right, guys, we're on to the final one from Adam McKay. Todd, take us away.
Our final film is 2021's Don't Look Up. It is one that we have discussed previously in an Oscar special. However, we'll still go back over. It is about a comet that will bring on an extinction event that's heading to Earth. After discovering it, Kate Dibiasky and Dr. Randall Mindy must get the world to realise the danger it is in. Unfortunately, the world is going to take a little bit more convincing than facts and science.
All right then, Todd. Thoughts?
Yeah, do you know what? I can't remember what I said about this. I seem to remember enjoying it, but I think I enjoyed it more on a rewatch. I think I've enjoyed it more this time around. It's the idea that sort of satire is dead in terms of like the world is so ridiculous. How do you kind of satirize it? And I think to do that, you have to go that extra step up. And I love that Adam McKay did that with this. I had a great time with it. I think performances again are fantastic. Surrounding cast do really well, and there's some really good writing as well. And I think it balances the comedy and drama perfectly as well.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was quite negative on it when we spoke about it for the Oscars, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to watch it again. Also, I had to as part of this. I enjoyed it more. I think in its own way, it's almost aged better, like because it's kind of coming to fruition almost. It's kind of more feels like reality, which I suppose helps it. But I enjoyed it more than I did when I first watched it for our Oscar episode. It still has its issues. It's still a bit on the nose. But I suppose it's fine. It's satire, and there's still some performances that I don't really like. But I think overall, I definitely enjoyed it more, and I almost hope that it doesn't age any better, because if it does, then I think we're all going to be in a bit of a pickle. Collie, thoughts on Don't Look Up?
Yeah, I actually I obviously remember that we discussed it, but I meant to go back and listen to what we said about it last time, but I didn't want to listen to our 17-hour podcast or whatever it was on that Oscars. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's an excellent film. I agree that you could say that it's too on the nose, but I think like 90% of the public or something like that are too stupid to realize stuff like this. So I think it needs to be painted clearly for them. So it probably he's progressed from The Big Short to Vice to this in terms of, well, if you're not getting it now, then I need to tell you even more explicitly, and I need to tell you in a more outlandish way. And it's talking about outlandish. This is like obviously not as absurdist, but it is in a way back to the likes of the Anchormans and the Step Brothers and the Talladega Nights that he's done previously. He's went back, and like Big Short and Vice had comedic elements in it, but then I think this is his funniest film since definitely Anchorman 2, since the other guys. So I think this is like probably a good amalgamation of his comedy side of things and his drama side of things and his warnings about how the world's working or how the world's going and stuff like that. So really enjoyed it. Great performances. I can't even remember what the tweet was back when it came out, Massey, that you were shagging, but it was like about how bad the editing was in this film or something like that. And I was just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm probably too stupid to realize editing's good or bad, to be honest. And I'm glad that you've kind of lessened on it a little bit, because I was ready to tell you to grow up and just enjoy the film.
Oh, good. I've dodged that.
I'll still tell you that anyway.
Okay.
I'll still tell you anyway.
Well, okay. So the main sort of folk that we follow is Leo and Jennifer Lawrence. Todd, what were your thoughts on those two as the characters that found this comet? You're on mute again. It's 2026, mate. Come on.
Apologies. So I think I've said this a couple of times. I've been on mute a couple of times as well, but I think I've said about like actors and characters. We get something from Leo that we don't normally get. That he doesn't have the charisma that a lot of his other roles have. He's a lot more awkward. He's a lot more sort of a lot more quiet. And I love that. I love the performance, and I love the anger and the frustration. I think him and Jennifer Lawrence both show that frustration so well. And I sort of, in a I'm going off on one, I apologise. In a Tim Robinson sketch where Tim Robinson is the weird guy in a normal situation. Like it's a normal world, and Tim Robinson's the weird guy that everybody's looking at. in this film, the world is weird, and these two of these are the only normal ones. They're the only level-headed ones, and it's so like I feel their frustration, and everybody is like laughing and joking and having this amazing time. And the frustration that these two show are amazing. I think Jennifer Lawrence plays a sort of similar role to things that she's done before, but that's not a dig by any stretch of the imagination. I know the clothes are different, and I know the hair's different, but the attitude's still there. And the way that she is and her mannerisms are still very similar. But again, that's not a dig. I think it's still a great performance, and I think it's a fantastic character. And I love seeing the way that they're treated differently. That like she's the hysterical, she's the typically hysterical woman type thing that people keep like. That's everybody's like. Oh, she's overly emotional, and like there's the stickers of her and like all the memes and that where he's like the handsome scientist, and that's all he gets type. What is it? Astronomer I'd like to fuck, ILF. Like, and I think the difference between them is just shown in how they're treated, but their performances were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. For me, Jennifer Lawrence is the best out of the two of them. Like for me, she's the one that does only react like a human. Like everyone else is always like a caricature. When you're saying about the Tim Robinson sketch, what one's in your mind? Just so I know if I'm
the hot dog.
the same.
The hot dog.
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect.
Car.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfect. Cool. I was thinking that, or even when he's choking on the hot dog in the meeting. He didn't get his lunch and stuff like that. Yeah. Sorry, that was a sidebar. But yes, Jennifer Lawrence as Kate DiBiase, the one who obviously initially finds the meteor. The way that she acts, it just felt human to me. She has emotional moments. She has frustration building up that sometimes just comes out without any sort of warning. Then ending up with almost like Steve Carell, the nihilism of it all, the kind of just apathy that she has to the people and how she knows it's going to happen, the world's going to end. So she's just like, well, fuck it, we'll just do what I want. And then of course the kind of like the emotional climax where she's with her sort of kind of family, I suppose they are at that point, because her real family are the ones that agree with the meteors. Yeah, it's just it's insane. But yeah, I thought she was great. Yeah, Leo, I did like the fact that he wasn't this charismatic sort of guy. I thought when you said there was going to be see something different from him, and that he wasn't involved with a 21-year-old. But yeah, I thought he was quite good, quite understated in it as well. But yeah, Jennifer Lawrence for me was definitely the MVP out of all the characters. I really preferred her performance. Collie?
Yeah, I enjoyed the lead two performances. I thought they were great. I think they've got great chemistry. And yeah, Leo playing this like nerdy kind of bashful guy, and like when Cate Blanchett's obviously like coming on to him and stuff, he's not really with it or whatever. And I didn't really consider it, Todd, until you said, but like Jennifer Lawrence does embody this in quite a few of her other roles. Even like Katniss in Hunger Games, she's like this outspoken, like, speaking out against the system or trying to raise awareness of this and this and this. So I never really clicked there. I think she plays it really well. And she plays that neurotic kind of like highly strung individual at times, and then like you say that gets painted as like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's over exaggerating, blah 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 blah. And it's interesting how that's such a portrayal of how the media works, you know what I mean? And it's been more and more evident as the last 5, 6, 7 years have gone on and stuff. So the lead two are great, but the supporting cast, like top to bottom, I think are really good. Like fuck off, Massey. Meryl Streep, I think, as the president's really funny, just like not taking stuff, like not considering what they're saying is true. And I think that's reflected in the American president nowadays, and the whole asking what school Jennifer Lawrence went to, and they're like, oh, we'll get some Ivy Leaguers on it then. And then obviously they confirmed the same thing. I think Jonah Hill's hilarious in this. Like, I think he's really, really funny as our son, just this little tag along idiot. Again, reflective of some stuff maybe in real life. And then Mark Rylance as the billionaire guy, I thought he was hilarious. Like his little high pitched explanation, and But it was so silly. But then the kind of little monologue that he has to Leo later on, where like, I know how you're gonna die and stuff. That was like sinister as fuck. So again, reflecting on real life, I think that kind of shows that his public persona versus who he actually is completely blinded. And yeah, it's just interesting. Obviously, in the last however many years, the rise of Musk as this billionaire, and he's buying all this and this and this, but obviously it's a parallel of that side of things. And then when he asks Meryl Streep to come outside the room or emergency room or whatever they're in, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, we're just going to turn it back, and it's because obviously there's minerals there. And I was like, fuck, I could see that happening if it was such a thing. And yeah, it's crazy how much it parallels. And like you say, Massey, between it when it was released to now, it's aged quote unquote better or more accurately. And I hope it just doesn't continue to be that way. But yeah, the performances top to bottom are really good. And we'll probably get into more of the kind of actual cameos in terms of like Chalamet and Ariana Grande and that. Like, I thought they were all really good in what they were being asked to do, especially Ariana Grande. She was hilarious. Because what did she call him, an old fuck or something like that? She's like, mind your own business, you old fuck. And I was like, that's just bizarre but funny at the same time, because obviously he's just trying to be nice.
For me, I hated Meryl Streep and Jonah Hill. I didn't get on board with them at all. They just annoyed me. I mean, they're obviously antagonistic characters, I get that, but it just felt super over the top. I did get it all. I thought Mark Rylance was great. I thought his soft-spoken billionaire who's kind of seated in with the president was really well done. Kate Blanchett and Tyler Perry, I loved their duo. I thought they were fantastic. Like bouncing off each other. Like, it felt like proper news anchor or like anchor women, obviously.
Anchor lady.
Anchor lady, yeah. I thought they were fantastic. And then obviously their acceptance at the end when they just end up drinking and kissing and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I thought they were brilliant. I really enjoyed that. Just touching on like other sort of cameo stuff as well. I agree, Timothy Chalamet and Ariana Grande. Timothy Chalamet, certainly. I really liked him. I thought he was one of the moments one of the things when we first watched it that I didn't really quite like, but I think I didn't really get Timothy Chalamet at that point. Now understanding him, like, the character makes sense more to me as well. I really liked his sort of and I apologize if it's a quote, but it's the fingerling potatoes thing. Like, just great, just so good. Ron Perlman is like the stuffy kind of colonel or whatever, like, but he also has obviously that sort of like side to him where they have to cut the cameras early from him. Yeah, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I mean, again, some really good performances I really enjoyed, some that I didn't like, but overall, I did enjoy a lot of the performances. Todd?
The Ron Perlman thing where he's going up with a rocket and he's giving shout outs to all the different types of people,
Indians and
and he's like both and then the guy, everybody just keep going, he's a different generation,
Did you not see like why they never consider teaming up or something like that?
That had me bad. I thought he was fantastic. Just the ones I don't think we touched on. I thought Melanie Linsky as DiCaprio's wife. I thought especially her breakdown with the pills and stuff was but even like her softer moments were really good, and the supporting moments. And Rob Morgan as the doctor from NASA when he's getting arrested. I thought that was fantastic, where he says, I wrote it down because it made me laugh, stay cool, I just have more skin pigmentation than you, because your ancestors migrated to Northern Europe, and he's like giving this whole explanation as he's getting arrested. But yeah, for me, I thought Meryl Streep in particular was like more effective just because of how on the nose it was and how on the nose it had to be type thing. Jonah Hill made me laugh time and time again. I thought he was brilliant. Kid Cudi, and that whole thing with him and Ariana Grande, I thought that was cool.
When he proposes over the Zoom call and stuff.
Yeah, like that's a bigger story and stuff. I think it all adds up to like even the sort of I know it's the title of the film and stuff, but even the slogan of like "Don't look up" and like all that. I think it's it's the simple words, like making things simple gets more people interested than actual facts and things. And I think, for me, he can hit me over the head with a sledgehammer as much as he likes to when it comes to like getting messages across, because it's that bit more entertaining.
Good stuff.
And hopefully gets that message across.
Colin, you kind of touched on some of them. Do you want anyone else you want to talk about? Or
No, I mean, you obviously brought up Kate Blanchett and stuff, and I thought they were really, really good as well. But no, top to bottom, I thought everyone was good. Ron Perlman was hilarious in a bad way, I guess.
Excellent. Well, we'll go on to categories then. Yeah?
Yeah, fine by that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, quote for me it was I fucking love fingerling potatoes.
Okay.
Just genius. It was so good. Todd?
Mine was a Jonah Hill one. It's I'm the fucking chief of staff boy with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So good. My one was a Jonah Hill one. It was like, I did have the FBI put that bag over your head. They don't do that. The CIA does, but I made them do it.
Jeez. All right, Todd, scene?
The end. I think it's such a big swing. And I think you could have ended this film in a number of different ways, and it wouldn't have had the impact without that ending.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you mean the actual ending or the epilogue?
Both. No, the dinner table scene.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy watching Meryl Streep's character get eaten.
I hated the epilogue. Absolutely hated it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
You take stuff too serious at times, Massey.
I know.
You're the idiot who did a fucking 6-7 thing on this podcast. That's what I don't get with the whole 4.5 stars for Anchorman. You're like the least serious guy I know who takes some stuff overly serious.
I'm just contrarian. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Facts. At least you admit it.
Yeah, the scene for me was not quite the dinner scene, but certainly when he shows up back at his house and has a discussion with like obviously his wife, and his wife tells him that she slept with someone in like high school or whatever and stuff, and that's the makeup. I thought it was a really powerful scene. Collie?
Yeah, the makeup scene for me was really, really good. Just a nice touching moment, I guess, in the end of days.
Absolutely. MVP, you're gonna shout at me for my MVP, but Todd?
Mine's Jennifer. I'm being picky, and Jennifer Lawrence and Leo. I couldn't separate them. I thought they.
You've done that for like all the MVPs. You've picked 2 people.
I know. MVPs.
Fair enough.
I piece these.
Collie your MVP?
Jennifer Lawrence.
All right. I'm gonna be contrarian and hipster. Nicholas Britell, the composer.
Okay.
Some of like the musical themes and the songs that he wrote and stuff as well were phenomenal. Like some of like the more like spacey kind of themes that I thought were incredible. So shout out Nicholas Britell.
I'm actually going to change mine to Hank Corwin, the editor. I thought he did a great job.
It's fair. I totally agree with that. I really do. You know what I was getting at there. I'm not having a go at anyone, but I just thought it was really good. The music side of things.
It's funny. He scored Vice and Big Short, and I have more memory of the scores in those than I do Don't Look Up.
Really? Oh well. But yeah, I mean, my second one was Melinda Abreu, who's the makeup artist, but I didn't go that far. Anyway, right, scores. Todd.
I went 4.5 for this one.
Excellent. I went 3 stars, which is up from last time. And Collie.
4 stars for me, but it could probably be a 4.5.
Shocking. Okay, so we get onto the good fun bit, and it's the our ratings of the films. So all 8 films. So one take. I'm guessing you guys have done yours, yeah?
Yep.
Just checking. I know what you're like, Todd. Well, Todd, it was your episode. Give us your 8 to 1.
So from bottom to top, Anchorman 2, Vice, Don't Look Up, The Other Guys, Talladega Nights, The Big Short, Anchorman, Step Brothers.
All right. Mine's kind of similar. So for me, number 8 was Anchorman 2, 7, Don't Look Up, then Vice, The other guys, Talladega Nights, Anchorman, Step Brothers, then The Big Short, number 1 for me. Collie?
Mine's just like a combo of both of yours, I guess. So Anchorman 2, Don't Look Up, Talladega Nights, Vice, Other Guys, Anchorman, Step Brothers, Big Short.
Excellent, excellent stuff. Alrighty. Well, that is Adam McKay done. So what we normally do at the end of episodes is we announce who our next director is. And my choice, guys. My choice. So, on the next episode, we're not going Neil Breen again. We're not doing anything like that. The next episode, we are going to be talking about Mr. Ryan Coogler, the MVP of the Oscars this year. So, just to confirm, we'll be covering Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and then, of course, Sinners to top it all off. Cannot bloody wait. Right, guys, that's us. End of another one. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Again, if you're on YouTube, remember to like, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, follow, and let us know in the comments below what you thought of this episode. And, of course, let us know about your thoughts for Ryan Coogler and how excited you are for that. But, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.